For the record, Ron DeSantis is doing a fantastic job down in Florida. That's why he's winning. He barely squeaked by when he won the first time. Now he slam dunk landslide everywhere in the state. He turned Miami-Dade red. How does that happen? I'll tell you why. You know what the first thing Florida has done in the last 4 years? Cleaned up their election system. Yeah, read it. Look it up. Simplified everything. They got their ballots in on time. The majority were cast in the last few days. They got them all counted. Boom. Solid red state. Another factor. Ron DeSantis has done a great job. And you know why? Because he came up with a consistent issue, worked on it one by one, and he built a team of people in Florida. He didn't have that GOP infighting that we have here in Arizona. He didn't have the, lesser two evil people. He didn't have the never Trumper out. He had a solid constituency. And he took a solid constituency and he ran the government on basic conservative principles. No wokeism, no shutting down because of masks, none of it. He held the line. Man, did they hammer him. If you remember right, when Ron DeSantis said, no, we're not going to engage in mask mandates. No, we're not going to engage in vaccine mandates. He took the vaccine himself. He said, hey, you should take it. But he said, no to mandates. I'm not going to force people to do something they don't want. And he held the line. He got hammered for it. Oh, he's killing people down there. And the statistics didn't bear it out. I don't know how many hours on this show I devoted to statistics on COVID. Got my show shut down on YouTube a couple times. Well, what's the death count per ratio? How many deaths per capita population? It was much lower than New York. New York was 10 times that. And New York had the strongest mandates in the country besides California. So obviously, didn't do anything. He believed in it. He believed that, he took the risk. It might cost some lives. It might. I might be wrong about this. The CDC, maybe they're right. Nobody knew at that time. Problem is CDC won't admit that they were wrong. Ron DeSantis ran government in Florida to strict conservative principles. No, I'm not going to interfere too much. And he did it without the usual rancor. Now, the concepts that he was using to run that state are essentially Trumpism. What is Trumpism? It's a belief that less government governs more. That's what it does. Less government is a better thing. It will result in a stronger economy, less regulations. Doesn't mean the rich get richer. It means everybody gets richer. The boat floats. It means, there are more millionaires get made, but you know what? Everyone has a higher net economy income. That's what it is in Florida. Look it up. Yeah, they have inflation down there, just like we have they're everywhere. But those people have a higher net income today than they did before DeSantis. There's a reason for it. Conservative principles. They work. And then he went to the people and he said, this is what I did, and I'm going to stand behind it no matter what you say. And man, the attacks on DeSantis in the last 4 years have been horrible. He didn't care. I don't care. I'm not going to go into this woke agenda. He said it in his speech, in his acceptance speech for governor in this midterm election. He said, woke, they come here to die. If you're woke, that's dying here. Wokeism, we don't accept it. Right straight out. We don't accept mandates. We don't accept anything that's coming from the federal government, and we're going to do it right here the way we want. Fuck you. And he weathered that. Every other governor in this country, including our own governor, Doug Ducey, folded in some way. Well, maybe we're wrong. Well, maybe we don't need it. Well, I'm not going to run again. Same thing. Not DeSantis. He didn't care what people say. And because he realized Twitter is not the real world. Facebook is not the real world. The real world is me. What goes on Main Street? What goes on in the homes of Floridians? He successfully separated Trump from Trumpism. He showed how state can be run with the principles that Trump introduced as president, and Reagan introduced, by the way. Trumpism is really nothing more than Reaganism when you analyze it. He said, but we can do it without Trump. And he did. Now, Trump lives in Florida, right? So he witnessed it firsthand. He separated what happened and successful in Florida from Donald Trump himself. Because Trump is kind of problematic. He's always doing things that are... Even Donald Trump's fans, me included, will tell you The guy is his own worst enemy. His own ego is going to get in the way of anything. He'll say the wrong thing at the wrong time. He doesn't know how to communicate issues like a politician. That's okay. We can accept some rough edges. And damn it, Donald Trump did this country a favor. Woke it up. Pardon the connection. From its stupor of the constant version of Bush and Clinton changing hands. That's the main reason why Donald Trump ran in 2016 was going to be another Bush Clinton. He said, enough of this shit. Both these guys are the same thing. We need a true conservative. We need somebody who goes back to Reaganism. And that's why he ran. That's why he won. Because all the nonsense that was going on. DeSantis essentially is Trump without the problems. He doesn't seem to have the communication problems that Donald Trump did. Donald Trump is not a politician. DeSantis is. Donald Trump is like you or me getting into the presidency. Not going to end well. It's going to end ugly, which is what had happened. There's only one problem. Everyone's now saying, well, DeSantis is going to be the next president. DeSantis, and they're going to knock each other off in the primary, and it's going to be funny. Even Biden said today, well, what do you think about Ron DeSantis running for president? He goes, well, in the primary with Trump, it should be fun to watch. He's right about that. But it won't happen. Here's why. Ron DeSantis will not run for president in 2024. He'll just stay governor. Because it takes 2 years to run for president. Right? I mean, it really does. You need a year of fundraising and then another year of campaigning. And then he's got to go back to the people who voted for him for governor for 4 years and explain to them why he doesn't want that job anymore, too. That's not going to be easy to do. That's going to be a bit of a problem. Now, I'm not saying that he wouldn't do it. But he's facing Donald Trump. Donald Trump is going to run. Everybody knows it. His equal will not allow him to sit by the sidelines and do the right thing and be a kingmaker and have a lot of influence in a new Republican government in 2024. Won't do it. He won't do it. He can't. It's not in the man's mentality. So he's going to run. So Ron DeSantis is probably saying, well, what's going to happen? Let's see what Trump declares. Because Trump has said he's going to declare in the next 2 weeks. He's making his decision now. He's not going to run against Trump. Why bother? Why? Think about this. Why bother? If this comes down to a lineup where you had a narrow victory in the House, maybe no victory in the Senate, and you go into 2024 with a re-energized and re-innovated Joe Biden, and it's Biden against Trump, Trump will lose. I'm going back to the regional map. That shit. People think, oh, Trump will win. Oh, Trump will win. No, you lost one already. It's the same people. The same people are going to vote in 2024 that they did in 2020, and they're going to vote the same way because they didn't vote on the economy. If you did, you would have voted for Trump the first time. They're going to vote the same way that they did tonight, and they're going to vote this way the same they did in 2020. That's why the map's going to look almost the same. They don't care about the economy. They have successfully painted the Republican Party as a bunch of fascist idiots, assholes who are going to take things away from you. Too many people rely on government money now. It'll go down the same way. Joe Biden will win and everyone will scream, what? Fraud! No, the system is just rigged against you. That's all, as I explained. And then what happens? It sets it up beautifully DeSantis to win in 2020 and 2028, right? Because Biden can't run again. He'll be able to get somebody like Harris or who knows what. I mean, that's 6 years we're talking. And DeSantis will have perfect position. He'll have plenty of money. He'll have established himself as a governor of Florida. This is what Reagan did. Reagan ran 2 terms as governor, took some time off, then ran for president. Boom. Take time off to consolidate a government. Consolidate your fundraising, consolidate your money, consolidate partnerships with all of these governors and people, leaders in the Republican Party that have now emerged that are coming forward with this election. He builds a network in those 2 years after he governs successfully. 2-term governor, and then he says, okay, I'm out now. Let somebody else here. I made Florida a bastion of red power, Republican power. That's what Reagan did for California. That's what Barry Goldwater did with Arizona. That's what he's doing in Florida. That's why he'll sit down. He won't come forward. Why bother? Why knock yourself off with Donald Trump? Because it'll be a brutal pit fight. These two guys go at each other. weaken yourself, and then go into a presidency that may be innervated by the fact that the economy eventually has got to turn around. Why do that? Why not just let them knock each other off? Like Nixon and Carter and Ford. That's what happened. All those guys killing each other. And then he just steps in at the perfect moment when the American people are completely fed up in 2028. And there is no viable leadership. I mean, who do they run against? Who did they run against Reagan? Carter? The only reason Carter became president was because of Ford and Nixon. My God. No, he won't run. So put it out of your minds what that might look like. He's going to be governor for the next 4 years. Trust me. And Donald Trump is going to run again. And I'm telling you, he's going to lose. He's going to lose. Even if the economy gets completely train wrecked, he's going to lose. Because people are what they are. They're going to believe the fascism, the Nazi, all that crap. The threat to democracy, election deniers. It's getting traction. And it all goes away when Biden goes away, when Trump goes away, it'll all disappear. And then DeSantis has got to coast to the White House. The question is, will he have enough to build on after another 4 years of Biden? I don't know. Because the way these guys govern, they are so incompetent, so malfeasant, and so corrupt. I don't know if there'll be anything for DeSantis to build on. The question is can he build a consensus after he just had this huge momentum? I would like to see him run and Trump step back. But if Trump runs, he'll do the smart thing and he'll sit down. But man, I would love to see DeSantis run. I would love to see him win. I just don't know if the cost will be worth it. Donald Trump needs to sit back. Take his ego out of the game. In my opinion, he should have been Speaker of the House. Perfect guy. Right? Mouthing off, saying whatever. Keep speaking like the average American does. That's perfect Speaker of the House. Chose not to. We only got a few minutes left. I want to talk about a $2 billion lottery. We'll be right back.